Hey you guys, Bob Smith here coming at you with a video talking about a home invasion that just took place here on Oahu. I could rant forever about this. Chicken shit drug using cowards. But there's a sense of entitlement that's going around Hawaii right now. Politicians would like you to believe that this is something that's happening, that it's random, it hasn't happened. We just had one last month in Kaneohe. We just had one the month before that in Kailua. We had one before that in Waipahu. Before that, Kalihi. So we're having these home invasions that are happening constantly here in the state of Hawaii. And our lawmakers, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Hawaii, they don't want you to be able to protect yourself. And they don't want to punish these guys. Last night, the home invasion that happened in Makaha, these two chicken shit cowards, one of them has already been arrested. I'm not going to mention their names yet, but they are chicken shits. One of them was holding a 1911, that's a 45 ACP pistol, that's a cannon. He pistol whipped the man in the home, hit the woman, pistol whipped her, kicked her, and then they proceeded to rob the house and steal even from the children. So when he left, his final words fleeing was, "West Side is back in full effect." Like, that's a proud badge for your community, for Waianae. Now, Waianae has always been a rough area, known as a rough area, but it's no different than anywhere else in Hawaii. There are good people that live there. There are good people that try to make a living there and try to make it their home. There are good people who take care of the homeless on the beaches over there. There are beautiful, wonderful stories about Waianae. And then you have these dirty punks, chicken shit punks, that are out robbing these houses, walking in full effect. And lucky that the victim had surveillance cameras in his home. I would have had cameras outside my home. I never would have thought inside my home. But different theories on that. But the guys came in, pistol whipped him. Think about that. Pistol whipped him in his own home. If there's one place that you should feel safe, it should be your own home. And yet the people in Hawaii, our lawmakers, district attorney, they won't punish the criminals. They won't punish guys like this. I had a guy who recently posted a death threat and threats to me on social media recently. And he got a big alligator mouth and a hummingbird ass. And doing it, threatening me because of another member of my family's actions. But that's out of my control. He hasn't showed up though. You know what? There's a big picture of me on my window, and I'm easy to find here at Smith Taekwondo Center. But that's that entitlement that I'm talking about. Everybody thinks that they have to show that they're a criminal or they're a gangster. Yeah, you're tough when you beat up your woman. You're tough when you get arrested for beating up your woman, but that doesn't make you a man. And because you can steal a gun and walk into somebody's house and catch them off guard and beat them, doesn't make you a man. Because you can beat a woman with a gun, doesn't make you a man. It makes you a chicken shit coward. That's what it makes you. But Hawaii has an epidemic of that. The young people here, and you can see this in a lot of the sporting events. You can see these guys running around with this entitlement mentality, and families accept it. I don't accept it. You see it in the martial arts promotions here, the mixed martial arts and the kickboxing promotions. I don't accept it. You see these thugs running around in these places. Everybody knows them. Got them in my family. Everybody knows people like this. But it doesn't mean that you have to accept it. I follow the laws of society. Most of you follow the laws of society, I'm sure. We're a law-abiding society. But what are we supposed to do when two chicken shit cowards think that they have the right? And that's the mentality now, believe me. Get this, please understand this. People are running around, these guys are running around believing that they're entitled to do this. They think that's their hustle. Yeah, man, gotta make that money, man. Gotta make that coin, man. Gotta run that game, man. Gotta hustle, gotta hustle. How about getting a fucking job? How about that? Try getting a job. Try being disciplined. Try taking care of your kids instead of beating on your kids, beating on your woman. going into somebody's house with a gun and beating a woman, beating a man. If you're that much of a badass, stand up one-on-one with that guy. Tell him you're going to take his shit after you whip his ass and see how that goes. That wouldn't happen. But you know, it's driving me nuts here because that is the mentality with the generation anywhere from 14 to 35. That whole section of young men in that area. The methamphetamine, the drugs, the money, it all goes hand in hand. These guys, you guys all think that you're mainland, you're big mainland drug dealers like the drug lords coming out of Miami. You're a fucking joke. You're not even close. You're just a bunch of cowards that attack a woman and a man in the middle of the night. A few of them back in Kaneohe last month broke into a 68-year-old woman's home, posing as police officers, and they beat her up. Man, you guys are tough. You're badasses. I don't get it. You know, when I was growing up, being arrested was a mark of shame. It was a mark of shame. But now you guys think it's like this game, especially here in Hawaii, because the judicial system won't punish you correctly, and accordingly, you're running around with guns, robbing people. You got Dae Han Moon shooting a kid in the back of the head, showing the kind of chicken shit coward he is and his friends. And yeah, I know that you were his friend too. You know who I'm talking to. And that makes you tough. That makes you guys tough. Get a job, man. Act like a man. A man isn't somebody who's a criminal trying to work the system, laughing because he's in and out of OCCC. That's not what a man is. A man works every day. A man takes it. He takes whatever stress he's given and he lives with it because it makes him a better man. Not hiding behind a gun, being a chicken shit coward. For all you law-abiding citizens here in Hawaii, the problem is nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to say, my voice matters. Antifa matters. All you guys here, the liberals in Hawaii, want to protest Donald Trump, your voice matters. Oh my God, we're not going to let him do his job because he's a racist. And the Democratic Party, the socialist movement in Hawaii, like Brian Schatz, who live in their gated communities, who don't have to fear for their lives in the middle of the night like the rest of us, don't want you to be able to protect yourselves. And at the same time, they will not aggressively prosecute guys who are breaking into people's homes, doing home invasions, blatantly and openly. This little fat bastard didn't even wear a mask. He didn't care. Him and his buddy, they didn't even care. If you guys haven't seen the video on Hawaii News Now, look at it. It's disgusting. You think that because you're hiding behind a gun that you can make some other man or woman, because you have a woman fearing for her life, or you cock the hammer back, what do you expect that man to do? Well, for us here at Smith Taekwondo Center, we do a armed combatives course. And we work every day, every week, on taking someone's gun away from them who is intent on hurting us for situations like that. I pray to God that none of us ever are put in that situation. But there are options if something like that does happen. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee, it doesn't mean it's going to work. But you don't have the right, none of you, to go around robbing at gunpoint, beating people, just because you think you can, because you're a fucking thief. Because you're a little thug. That makes you nothing but a coward. You know where I'm sitting at? I'm sitting here in a ring. Boxing ring. This is where two men, real men, settle their differences. They don't walk in behind a gun, hiding behind a gun, or making threats on social media like a little bitch. This is where two men settle their differences. You prove that you're a man. And you do that also by going up every day and going to work, by taking care of your family, taking care of your wife, your ex-wife, your children, your stepchildren. Everybody here in Hawaii knows somebody like that. Everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, I do. Everybody does. They know some little punk fucking thug, gangster, wannabe, criminal that thinks because he's in and out of prison that somehow he's working the system. You're a joke. You're an idiot if you think that you're working the system somehow. Yeah, you're robbing the taxpayers because it's my tax money that's paying for you when you're locked up. But you think because you're a criminal, that makes you some kind of a man? Driving away screaming, West Side is back, full effect? It's not the first time somebody's done that. Kalihi and a buddy of his in Waikiki a few years back beat a Hawaiian man and killed him. Beat him. Busted his head on the ground, killed him. Old Hawaiian man, Arkapuna. And when they drove away, their response was, West Side, motherfuckers. What kind of a man is that? It makes you a chicken shit coward is what it makes you. And now that your dumb ass is locked up and you're put in prison, how good are you to anybody? To your family, to your kids? You're not. So, law-abiding citizens, you guys have a responsibility to make your voices heard. Everybody here needs to understand that as many home invasions that have been taking place in Hawaii, especially on Oahu, it's not a random act of violence like your politicians would have you believe and your police chief would have you believe. It's not a random act. It's an epidemic. It goes hand in hand with the thug life that they're all trying to project, with the money, with the methamphetamine. And it makes me sick because they're all a bunch of little bitches, and our politicians are even worse because you won't lock these guys up and put them away. Oh, well, Bob, you know, it's difficult in prison because prisons are overcrowded. Well, you know what? They called that shot when they got out of bed that morning and decided they were going to stick a gun in somebody's face. Not me. Law-abiding citizens, if you don't have a firearm, get one. If you don't know how to use it, take some classes. If you don't know where to look, contact me and ask me. We do classes all the time. If you're interested in self-defense classes, contact me. If you know somebody like that in your family, like this other little chicken shit who hasn't been caught yet, some of you know who that guy is. Drop a dime on his ass and tell the police. Because if you turn your back and let people like this commit these crimes just because they're your boy, you're just as bad as they are.